Good evening, everybody. It is Saturday night here in South Beach, Miami. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Bank of Russia raising interest rates. We are going to be talking about the Consumer Price Index in the United States rising 7.5% year over year. But something that's interesting that's going on in Russia is that inflation is actually higher than in the United States, but it seems like the Bank of Russia is doing a lot more to try to keep inflation tame by raising interest rates. But the inflation rate in Russia is running at about 8.7% when they're being very, very aggressive on raising rates. But on the other hand, the United States, we're only running at about 7.5%, and we haven't raised rates at all. So we'll talk about that tonight. Bianca M is here. Vinny Castellano is here. Chris, good to see you. Santa Monica Rodriguez is here. Ken Kramer, happy Saturday, everybody. Jonathan Richards says, hope you had a productive week. I did. Hopefully you had one too. Beta Mario is here, says hello. Solo 401 says yo yo yo. Yen 10 says hello, Tom and everybody. Good to see you. Otto is here. Good to see you, Otto. Matthew P. Efron says, are you in Miami Beach? We are. So this is South Beach. We're going to be walking around to Lincoln Road, which I think is about a mile away from here. But we have a lot to talk about. We couldn't stream last night because I was very, very busy. So we'll catch up on a lot of stuff tonight. But it's a beautiful night. It's probably about 77 degrees, very low humidity. Hey, Joe Hernandez is here. Dino is here. Dave in Maine, good to see you. Barry Mullins says, hey, brother, how are you? I hope you are well. May God bless you. Thank you so much. Dino, Joe Hernandez, Chris, what's up, everybody? Sally is here. This is kind of a pretty cool building here. You have the stairwell going right over the water. I see Sally. Chris says, what did you do today? I sort of took the day off just to read because this week has been really, really crazy for me. I'm working on some very large healthcare opportunities, some healthcare deals, and that's been taking up an extraordinarily amount of my time. But it's been a productive week overall, but very, very busy. Marcy M says, hello, Tom. Hope you're doing well this week. I'm doing really well. Joe Hernandez says, Tom, it is 76 degrees here in Orlando. Very cool. Beautiful weather. Alan Wilson is here. Says, good evening, everybody. What's up, Alan? Marcy M. Happy Saturday, everybody. Chris is good. Glad you took the day off. Yeah, this week is, that's why I didn't stream last night. I had to go to downtown Miami to meet with some clients. We had a nice dinner, so it was good. Savvy says, good night, Tom and everybody. Very cold in Canada. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on in Canada. It seems like the truckers' protest has been spreading across the country to more, what is it called? Provinces, I guess. But to my knowledge, it started in Ottawa, Canada, and has since expanded. So we're keeping our eye on that. NG says, hey there, you deserve a break, Tom. As much as we do appreciate you, take care of yourself as well. Appreciate that. Dino says, Tom, do you believe in the Super Bowl stock market sell-off depending on who wins? I don't believe in that. I've never even heard of that. So Dino, could you enlighten me on that theory? I'm not too sure what that is. The Super Bowl stock market sell-off. Interesting. So speaking of the Super Bowl, I guess that is tomorrow. Does anybody know who's playing? I forget. We were talking about it a couple streams ago. Hey, Joey's here. Says happy Saturday. What's up, Joey? Bernie Williams says good to see you. Work, etc. Hello, Tom. Good to see you, Bernie Williams. Triple G says hi, Tom. Hope you're well. I'm doing really good, Triple G. Vinny Castellano says, Tom, oil was $94 a barrel yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it seems like the energy sector and the financials are doing really well, right? So we had a major sell-off in the stock market on Friday to close the week lower. And one of the things I was concerning about that sell-off yesterday is that it was on extremely high volume. And as we've seen, a lot of the stocks that are selling off the most are these technology stocks. And it seems like the quote-unquote flight to safety is in the XLE and the XLF, which is the energy ETFs as well as the financials. Hey, super friends in the city, Fernando is here. Good to see you, Fernando. I'm not sure what this thing is, but check this thing out. Dino says the NFC team wins equals a bull market. That should be really interesting. Well, hopefully the NFC team wins. Hey, Roy S is here, says it'll be the Bengals versus the Rams. Gotcha. The Cincinnati Bengals. I guess I'll root for the Cincinnati Bengals, but I'm definitely not sure. Anything about football. Hey, we have our friend Marty Lewis is joining us. Says hello, Tom, and everybody. Sunshine after rain. Super friends in the city says, how are you? I'm doing really good. It was a beautiful day here, Fernando, in Miami. It was probably about 77 degrees and sunny. Although it did rain a little bit. Did rain a little bit last night. But I think it's good when it rains. It kind of cools things down. Hey, I see my friend Susan Engels says, hi, Tom and friends. Hope you're well this evening. Photos from around New York says, Tom, there is a popular collection of these in the desert. Good to see your photos. Yeah, Marciam says it looks like Play-Doh. So check this thing out. And we have a beautiful full moon here in Miami. You guys will be able to see it here. Tatiana Oliviera says, hello, Tom. How are you? We missed you yesterday. Yeah, there was no stream yesterday. I was actually in downtown Miami. I had to go out to dinner with some clients, which was good. It was a very productive meeting. We're working on a big healthcare deal for a major hospital in Jacksonville, Florida. So we were doing a planning session. We went out to dinner and it was a good time. But I did get home rather late, probably around midnight. So, Susan Engels, good to see you. It's Fernando. Alan Wilson, good to see you. Hey, the ABX girl is here. Good to see you, ABX girl. Bianca M, good to see you. Hope you're well. Melee is here, the ABX girl, the one and only. Mets fan 1023 says money never sleeps. Good to see you. So everybody, I just wanted to touch on briefly, one of the things that's really perplexing to me, you know, obviously as we know, last week on Friday, that 10-year US Treasury yield actually broke above 2% for the first time in a long time. And inflation is running wild in the United States. We had a CPI print of about 7.5%. But something that's interesting is that in Russia, consumer prices, the year-over-year change is actually 8.7%, but the year-over-year change in the United States was 7.5. So 8.7 versus 7.5. But the thing is, the Bank of Russia is actually increasing interest rates on a regular basis, and they're probably going to raise it to 9.5% to their interest rate. But it doesn't seem like rate hikes are doing anything to fend off inflation, which is concerning to me because let's say if we raise interest rates, 50 basis points and the market has a temper tantrum and it doesn't do anything to fight off inflation. Now that's bad news because not only is the equities market going to go down, but inflation's going to get a lot worse. And that means we are going to be tightening into a recession. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. Hey, EBITDA is here. What's up, EBITDA? Says, hey, Tom, hope you are having a nice weekend. Can't stay long. Just waiting on my girlfriend to get ready. Awesome, EBITDA. Hope you're having a good one. EBITDA, we are here on Collins Avenue and 21st Street, Collins Park South, not to be confused with Central Park South. Hey, FredX says, hey, Tom, happy Saturday to you. Happy Saturday to you as well. Hope everybody's having a good one. Robert says, who balances the ledgers? Bernie Williams says, are you worried about the Biden/Ukraine? So, I mean, to be honest, I think it's going to be a big non-issue, in my opinion. I really don't see war breaking out in the Ukraine. I was talking to one of my really good friends that just so happens to be an expert in all things the military. He used to be a big contractor. And what he says is he thinks that this is an entire hidden arms deal. Now, that may be a conspiracy, and I'm not here to say if it is or not. But one of my really good friends, and I trust him because he used to be a big military defense contractor, and he says he thinks this whole thing is just a cover-up for an arms deal. What do you guys think? Hey, Pia is here, says hey, good to see you, Pia. Beta Mario says, Tom, what do you think about Russia invading Ukraine? I mean, I just don't see how it would be possible for Russia to invade Ukraine. Like, what would be the benefits that would be getting? I don't see any of the benefits. Bernie Williams says the UK news says it's going to happen on Wednesday. Interesting. Interesting. Is Wednesday, anything in particular why they would choose Wednesday to start a war? I mean, I guess if you're going to start a war, might as well do it on a hump day, right? EBITDA says, Walks in Wall Street, what is your opinion on the market drop in reaction to Russia and Ukraine? How long do you think it'll last, and how long do you think the S&P, how low do you think the S&P will go this year? So I'm actually under the impression that a lot of the growth stocks are starting to bottom. So if we think about a lot of the high beta software stocks or the SaaS, software as a service stocks, a lot of these things have already sold off 70 to 80%, quite literally. So what I think is going to happen is your liquid leaders, which is the Googles or your FANG stocks, I think those are going to start to roll over and crack here a little bit. The S&P could potentially make a new low, but I think that would be an intense buying opportunity because much of the damage has been done already. And as we were talking about a little bit earlier on the stream, we had that follow-through day last Monday. But the thing that was concerning to me is, there's really no sound bases that have formed or were able to form. Everything is, there's a lot of damage that's been done to the market. So I think a lot of these stocks have to rebuild their bases, allow institutions to reaccumulate shares. And I think the second half of the year, so Q3 into Q4, I think that's going to be bullish for growth stocks. That's what I think. Hey, Ken Kramer says they're looking to feed the military-industrial complex, Tom. That's how these corrupt politicians make their money. Unfortunately, Ken Kramer, you're probably right. You're probably right. The military-industrial complex seems to charge on. So how are the defense stocks doing? Like your Lockheed Martins and all them. Barry Mullins says, wish I wouldn't. I love everybody in peace. Hey, Mona D says, hello, Tom and everybody. Good to see you. Triple G, Jared Covey says, did we sell them the weapons or was it a gift? Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, we left a bunch of equipment in Afghanistan, billions and billions of dollars of military equipment that'll probably be used against us one day. Vinny Castellanos says, cool art. Yeah, so this is the Eden Fine Art Gallery. And we always take a look at the one right behind St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, but there's also one in Soho, and obviously one right here in Miami Beach. I always love looking at these. NE says, recently got into crypto and felt like I blindly invested, but don't intend to sell for a while, no matter what. So NE, what did you buy, if you don't mind me asking? This one says, art is not a crime. Bernie Williams says, Ukraine have had issues with Russia for more than 300 years. Why it's an issue now, I don't understand. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Well, I mean, I think there's always a flavor of the month that politicians want you to look at. And I won't get too political, but I don't understand why we're sending 3,000 U.S. troops to the Ukraine when we can't even protect our own borders here. I think it's a waste of resources, and I don't think that the United States should get involved in other people's foreign affairs. But at the end of the day, we've been known to do that. But in relation to the markets, I really don't think it'll have that big of an impact, to be honest. I guess you could theorize that the price of crude oil or crude futures have been going through the roof. Bank of America actually came out and reinforced or reinstated their price target of $100 a barrel for crude, or $100 crude oil price target. And I think that they're probably right. You know, we've been talking about this on the channel for some time, that I think that crude will hit $100 a barrel relatively soon. And that increased price in crude has been giving a lift to the energy sector, as well as giving a lift to the financial sector. So if you pull up, you know, a chart of the XLE or the XLF, which are the two ETFs that track the financials as well as energy respectively, you know, those have been really outperforming the market so far. Hey, Robert says, was inflation inevitable regardless of political party? I think so. Well, I mean, we printed 70% of all US dollars in existence last year. So, I mean, inflation is really not surprising to me. EBITDA says, walks in Wall Street, it is stupid and almost like a PR move. We cannot even control our borders, homeless, or even price inflation. We need to help ourselves before we can help others. You know, I think that's a pretty good assessment, EBITDA. I mean, you know, we have, and you bring up the point of the homeless crisis we have in the United States. So why don't we allocate those resources and the money that we're spending on sending 3,000 troops to Ukraine? You know, why don't we spend that money, you know, building affordable housing for the homeless? I think that's probably, I mean, it makes sense to me, but that's probably why it'll never get done. Anything that makes sense and that's rational in politics usually never gets done. But I agree with you. Yeah, Vinny Castellano says, good point, EBITDA. Yeah, we waste so much money as a country getting involved in other people's business. Hey, Chris Beeman says, I love this part of Miami. Yeah, Chris, so this is the South Beach part. We usually are walking around downtown Miami, which tends to be more the financial district. But I really like all of the Art Deco architecture here. Hey, Moody says, Tom, nothing will happen. We'll see a good rally on Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, I hope you're right, Moody. I hope you're right. Dino says, Tom, they keep telling us that inflation is actually a good thing. I've never heard that before until this year. Yeah, I mean, Dino, I think that's all mainstream media propaganda to cover for, you know, the midterm election cycle. But I've been seeing a lot of that stuff too. Hey, Bernard Friedman is here. What's up, Bernard? Good to see you. Happy Saturday to our friend Bernard Friedman. Falcon Space says, good evening, Tom. Chris says, I agree. I love the neon and Art Deco. Triple G says, should we mention anything about free crack pipes? I think that's a little bit overstated, but I did see something that we're going to be providing like safety kits and things like that. But I'm not too sure about, you know, obviously the right-wing media is going to take that and really hammer down on it, but I'm not really too sure what the full story is on that, to be totally honest. Yeah, EBITDA is like, where did all the inflation is transitory people go? Well, you know, EBITDA, there's something that's interesting to me. If you look at the tips, and the tips are the inflation-protected treasuries, you know, they're signaling that either the Federal Reserve is overstating this or inflation is indeed transitory, but I don't really think so. You know, I was reading it, before I forget everybody, I was reading an interesting article today in the Wall Street Journal that was really talking about inflation and how companies really hide inflation. So before I forget the Nightbot command, if you type !price, P-R-I-C-E, in the chat, it's going to drop you a link to a Wall Street Journal article that talks about how many corporations across America and internationally too are sort of hiding inflation and price increases from the American consumer. I thought it was a really good article. And they pointed out Harley Davidson as one of them. So Harley Davidson technically is not increasing prices on any of their motorcycles, but anytime you buy a new motorcycle, they are providing a 3% convenience charge on each new purchase. And you're seeing this at many dealerships across the country too, not only at Harley Davidson, but at Ford, at GM. And a lot of the CEOs that were interviewed in this article, they're saying the reason why we don't want to increase prices and we're just charging these miscellaneous fees is because we believe that inflation is transitory and it's going to be easy for us to renege and remove these fees once prices stabilize, which, you know, I'm not too sure if I buy that, to be totally honest, but I think it's interesting. Hey, War Walker is here. Says, you would think we learned our lessons from Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah, I mean, you would think, right? Good to see you, War Walker. NE says, Tom, did you see the first home in the United States was sold as an NFT with Ethereum? I did not see that. That's very interesting. I would like to learn more about that. Numero Uno says, Tom, used car prices went up 40% since the election. Yeah, so Numero Uno, you're totally right. And, you know, they actually touched on that in the article that says, you know, the cars that you were buying 3 years ago, let's say if you bought a brand new car for $25,000, you could actually probably sell that same used car for the same price that you bought it at. So, I mean, pretty interesting store of value there. And also they touched on the concept of shrinkflation, right? So if you go to the grocery store, a lot of the times, like Tyson Foods is doing this, right? You'll buy, you know, chicken breasts and it'll technically be the same price, but they just reduce the amount of product that they actually give you. So Tyson Foods is a big culprit of this. Kellogg's is doing this with their different types of cereals. So when you go to buy the box of cereal, even though it may be the same price, corporations are actually just giving you less food to make up for those price increases. So very tricky and interesting way of doing things, but they're doing it nonetheless. Alan Wilson says, what is that driver going into that? I'm not sure. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys seeing, you know, when you go to the grocery store, are you seeing this concept of shrinkflation, where the prices may be the same, but you're noticing that you're getting less and less product, whether you buy a box of cereal, you know, a bag of trail mix, or even, you know, a pound of, or even chicken breast, or whatever it is. Falcon Spaces sounds greedy. Ah, interesting. Hey, Tony Legs is here. Susan Engels says, car prices shot up due to the lack of cars because of the chip shortages. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Susan Engels, you're absolutely right on that. And this is another reason why I've kept my bullish thesis on semiconductor stocks as a whole, because the demand is there. You know, we just can't make these chips fast enough. Hey, Ken Kramer says, Tom, utilities bills are way up as well. You know, I've been hearing that, Ken. I've been hearing that too. Energy prices are going through the roof. Jared Kobe says, I'd rather pay more than be deceived in quantity. Yeah, so Jared, read that Wall Street Journal article. I think you'd like it a lot. Hemp Lord says, good evening, everybody. What's up, Hemp Lord? MKC Update says, good evening, Walks in Wall Street. Good evening to you too. We are in South Beach, Miami tonight. We're streaming tonight. Glad you're here, Greg. It's always a pleasure to see you. War Walker says, it feels like we are in a famine sometimes. Publix has a lot of bare shelves, especially in the cat food aisle. Interesting. EBITDA says, Walks in Wall Street, I am noticing higher prices and less options. Supply chain problems are definitely not close to being fixed. Definitely a first world problem given the rest of the world. Yeah, I think you're right. But you know, it's interesting. You know, a lot of people talk about seeing bare shelves and things like that when they're walking through the grocery store. But in my personal experience, every time I go to the store here in, well, North Miami Beach, as well as New York City and Long Island, I'm not bare shelves. And just full transparency, I'm not saying that what anybody else is witnessing, they're lying about it, and I think that they're probably telling the truth. But for some reason, whenever I go shopping in New York City and here in Miami, I really am not experiencing any of those shortages that people are talking about. And the reason why I think that is because obviously Miami, Florida and New York City are two major ports of entry. So maybe, you know, we get all of our products and services before everybody else. But what do you guys think? Are you guys seeing food shortages where you are? Because in the grocery stores that I go, everything does seem fine. Hey, Falcon Space is Tom. Miami is very lively tonight. Sergio 2259 says, hi, if there is such demand for chips, why are stocks like AMD falling? So there's an extreme demand for semiconductors, but just because there's a demand for products and services doesn't mean that the stocks just have to go up in a straight line, right? We've seen this week the 10-year treasury yield go up over 2%. The spread between the 10 and the 2 is narrowing. So I think investors are raising cash. Iriba says, are there food shortages where the weather is bad like snow? I'm not sure about that. I mean, in New York, I haven't experienced anything terrible. Mike C says, everything is normal in our grocery stores. Manny Test is here, says hi. Chris Beeman says, Tom, it depends on the stores. Walmart is horrible, but our store fries, which if Kroger is good. Interesting. War Walker says, because you live in the burbs, in the hood, it's different. You know, you may be right, War Walker, you may be right. But I mean, North Miami Beach is a very, you know, middle-class, regular, run-of-the-mill community. And in the Walmart, as well as the Publix in my neighborhood, you know, things seem to... But who knows? Are experiencing it a little bit more. EBITDA says Miami and Manhattan are also two of the biggest cities. Go to a smaller town or even smaller city or even town and you will see. Yeah, EBITDA, I think you're 100% right. And you know, these are major ports of entry. You know, a lot of cargo comes in through Miami and New York. Ken Kramer says, Tom, I don't see any shortages here in Manhattan. Dino says, Tom, do you think the 2 new chip factories that will be built in Columbus, Ohio will have a real impact on domestic and world supply? Not anytime soon, because I don't think those chip fabs are expected to be built. I think completion is what, 2024, is that right? So think about that. You know, if these chip factories are going to be completed in 2024, it's going to take at least a year for them to get up to capacity. But what do you think? Hey, Sally is here. It's a beautiful view, Tom. What's up, Sally? Good to see you. Always good to see you. Hey, John L is in the house. His grocery stores here in New York City and Miami probably charge higher prices, so the stores are well stocked. I never thought about it like that, but maybe you're right. Numero uno says snack food shelves will be full tomorrow for the Super Bowl. Lou G says yes, bare shelves here in Tennessee. Food and pet items mostly. You know what, so it's interesting. I think that reinforces my thesis that any major city on a major waterway or port of entry probably will be receiving goods and services first over the flyover states. So that's probably why we're not experiencing too much of that in Miami or New York. Ken Kramer says Intel could be a good contrarian trade for the long term. Lori E says, hello friends, good to see you. Sally says, nothing much, Tom, just enjoying your live stream tonight on the phone. Alan Wilson says, I'm not seeing massive shortages there where there are a lot of empty shelves, but I do see specific products out of stock for weeks. Tony Fitty says, Tom, there's no shortages in Chicago. NE says, Tom, do you think Bitcoin will hit 1 million plus a coin? Over time, probably. I think over time, probably. Susan Engel says it's good that chip production is in the works, but it's going to be rocky until 2024. Yeah, I mean, so the description of the Wall Street Journal, it actually interviews a lot of the CEOs of major car companies. And they're actually saying that the demand is there for new vehicles, right? So the demand is there. They actually just can't sell them because they physically don't have any in the inventory. So what dealers are doing is they're technically not raising the price of new cars, right? All they're doing is adding on egregious fees and dealer surcharges of sometimes 5 or 7% of the entire purchase price. So this goes into the fact that, you know, of the Wall Street Journal article that says, look, a lot of companies right now are trying to quote unquote hide inflation by not raising the actual cost of the goods and the services, but tacking on these miscellaneous items and fees and things like that. Yeah, Susan Engel says you can't get them. Mets fan 1023 says, do you check out the app Quarter, the best app for conference calls? So I have not. Edward Freck says, Tom, it's not bad where I'm from. Numero Uno says, Tom, first tier cities are mostly fully stocked. War Walker says, Tom, did you hear about the couple, I believe, from the Big Apple who laundered millions of Bitcoins? Yeah, War Walker, I did hear about that. Talk about an absolutely bizarre story. You know, I wasn't following it too much, but I think it was actually billions, not millions. I think it was something like $3.4 billion worth of Bitcoin that was laundering or stolen. And I mean, the story seems really fishy to me because supposedly the feds caught them because they left their private keys on a cloud server, which, I mean, look, if you have over $3 billion worth of Bitcoin, there's no way, in my opinion, that anybody would leave their private keys in the cloud, right? You're gonna write that down and keep that offline. You know, if they're smart enough to, you know, launder $3 billion worth of Bitcoin, you would think they'd be smart enough to keep all of that stuff off the cloud. So I think the story is extremely, almost unbelievable to me. I think there's some nefarious activity or a cover-up going on. But again, I can't prove that, but that is what I believe at this point. Hey, Bernard Friedman says, I meant next morning in New York City is going to be 26 degrees. Wow, that's going to be freezing. Hey, Timothy McGlynn is here. Says, hi, Tom. What's up, Timothy? Yeah, Days Work says, Tom, it was $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin. Yeah, Mike C says, Tom, all of these sleight of hand techniques to disguise inflation. Hey, Brian says, hey, Tom and everybody, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you too. Numero Uno says, Carvana will be going up, it sounds like. Yeah, so Carvana is one of those, online brokers for used cars. I think another one of those used car online brokers is, I'm forgetting the name. I think it was not Zoom. It was something with a Z, I think. Does anybody know the other used car online used car broker? I can't believe I forgot the name of it. Photos from around New York says Auto Trader. No, it's not Auto Trader. It's something. I could see the logo in my mind. I just forget the name. Vroom. Yes, Joey. Copy that. Falcon Space's MetaMask is off loan storage. Carvana, CarMax, Vroom. I think Joey Price is right. I think Joey and Joey Price are right. That's the one I'm thinking about. Vroom, I think. I think the ticker symbol is VRM. I think it actually went public last year. Parking full times is AutoNation. No, it's not AutoNation. I think Trade 3 has it. Vroom. I think ticker symbol is VRM. That was another one of those very unprofitable growth stocks that went public and then got hammered. I think that thing is trading below IPO price, but I could be mistaken. Does anybody know what ticker symbol VRM is trading at right now? I haven't looked at it in a while. I used to watch it rather closely, but not anymore. I don't think it has had one profitable quarter. Hey, Mike S. What's up, Mike? Wow, $7. Jeez, that thing must have got pounded hard. Ken Kramer says the Fed caused the inflation and will continue to inflate the hyper bubble. This is Ken Kramer. Yeah, I mean, Ken, I think you're probably right. So here's the thing that's a little bit perplexing to me to think about. And look, I'm not an expert in foreign markets, but what's interesting to me is that, you know, the inflation rate in Russia is 8.7%, right? So think about that, 8.7% in Russia. But in the United States, we just had a CPI print of 7.5%. But here's the thing, in the United States, we're printing way more money. We're buying mortgage-backed securities and US Treasuries via the Federal Reserve, and we're not raising interest rates, right? But on the other hand, Russia, technically speaking, are doing all the right things with raising interest rates and tightening monetary policy, but inflation is actually running way hotter than in the United States. So does anybody have an idea of why that may be? What do you guys think? I have a couple ideas. Laura E says, true, Tony, and we gave away our energy independence too. That we did. It's interesting that we gave away our energy independence last year, right before we're starting trouble with Russia. Interesting. Tony Fitty says it's not true inflation. It is supply chain issues mainly due to our dependence on China to produce our goods, says Tony Fitty. I think that's a really interesting idea to explore, actually. I think that's a really, really interesting idea to explore. And I don't think you're wrong. I think that definitely has something to do with it. Because even in my everyday business, the supply chain is so messed up. It's so messed up. Vinny Castellano says, America isn't a country anymore, it's a business. Okay. Mike S says, Tom, diesel fuel has doubled. Bernard Friedman says, Tom, this reminds me of LA, but with more expensive prices. Photos from around New York says, Tom, read Maddow's book, Blowout, and learn more about the Russian economy. Let me take a screenshot of that, photos from around New York. So read Maddow's book, Blowout. I'm gonna read that. Joey says down 76% the past 6 months. Over 5 years, Vroom has lost $36. Hey, just in case, Ethereum is around 80% under IPO. Oh my God. So is that is it 80% under IPO price, or is that 80% under where it went, it hit the exchange? Ken says, we're the reserve currency and they exploit that power, says Ken Kramer. Mike C says, Tom, if inflation is only supply chain related, does that mean prices will drop back down when the chain is fixed? So I don't think it's only supply chain related. I think supply chain is definitely a big part of it. But look, you know, there's a lot of big notable players and economists on Wall Street that think inflation is transitory still to this day. And if you look at the TIPS, which are the inflation protected treasuries, you know, they're signaling to the market that it's very well possible that inflation is transitory. Hey, Blue Lines is here. What's up, Blue Lines? RJ says, my industry in billiards is probably 80% or more from China, and we've been waiting a long time. Susan Ingalls says, enjoy the warm and see you soon. I appreciate it. Chris Beeman says, I love the building across from Zara. Hey, sunshine after rain. Hope you're having a good one. TR says, hi, Tom. Mike S says, shutting the Keystone Pipeline started skyrocketing oil prices. Well, I mean, the main two components of the CPI that were the most concerning to me is number one, the shelter costs. So shelter costs have gone up an extraordinary amount. And we've been talking about this a little bit when we were going into the fact that the median rent price in New York City is now at a new all-time record high. Dino says, Tom, Maddow's book Blowout is extremely biased and anti-Russian. She just wanted to settle political scores as a result of the 2016 election. Interesting, Dino. So I have not read the book. But I'm definitely open to all different perspectives. So, I mean, this isn't the first time somebody recommended that. So I think I'm actually probably just going to buy the book or listen to it on Audible or something like that, just to get both perspectives. But, you know, Rachel Maddow does tend to be a little bit biased towards the left, but I'm open to seeing what she has to say. I'm definitely open to seeing what she has to say. Hey, Roy S says, please hit the like button, friends. What's up, Roy? Humid says, good evening. Hey, good evening to you too. I like the fact that they kept these palm trees all lit up. I thought they were going to take this down for the holidays. Triple G says, Tom, Vroom IPO price was $22 on June 9th. Oh my God. So an interesting thing to note about new IPOs, usually in the market that we've had, what you'll see is an influx of deals or an influx of IPOs. And oftentimes during bull markets, a lot of unprofitable speculative companies come public on the open markets. But here's something that's interesting. If we ever enter a very, very severe recession, it's extremely critical to pay attention to the companies that are going public during a bear market. And one of the reasons for this is because the companies that tend to go public during a bear market are the absolute cream of the crop, most profitable companies out there. So there's an old saying on Wall Street that during times of recession and during bear markets, any stock that goes public, you should just buy it. Now, I'm not saying to do that. All I'm saying is if we do head into recession, if we do head into a bear market, really pay attention to the stocks that are new IPOs or new issues. Falcon Space says, do you like reading more or listening to books more? So Falcon Space, I really usually don't listen to books, but I think as a way for me to drive efficiencies and save time, I'm going to explore the opportunity of starting to listen to audiobooks. But for some reason, I just love reading physical copies of books and newspapers, but that's just me. But I think I could probably cut back on a lot of time spent if I just listen to the audiobooks. Somebody says, is it humid right now in Miami? It's actually not. Usually during the winter, it's not humid in Miami, but in the summer, it gets humid. Dino says, there's nothing wrong with books having a political slant, but the mass anti-Russia hysteria post-2016 was totally over the top. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of this stuff with the Russiagate and the collusion, fake news. But look, I think a lot of it, I'm pretty good at sort of ignoring a lot of that stuff. Usually when the mainstream media, both on the right and the left, are really trying to ram something down my throat, I usually just turn it off entirely. And I think that's a good rule to live by. So whenever there's something on the news, the mainstream media is really trying to blast down your throat, 9 times out of 10, you can totally, completely ignore it and your life will probably improve. Dino says, nah, Tom, reading is better than listening. It's not the same, at least for me. So this is the H&M at Lincoln Theater. Hey, Eyeglass Lady is here. Says, I prefer tangible books and magazines, but audiobooks allow for you to multitask. Agreed. And so to your point, Eyeglass Lady, one of the reasons why I tend to buy the physical copies of books is because I want to build a library that I can pass down in my family through generations. And also I kind of think it looks cool because you can sort of remember the times where you bought this particular book, where you were. make notes in the book. So I definitely agree with that. Vinny Castellano says, when I was in Desert Storm, our lieutenant told us the enemy is only as strong as you make them, says Vinny Castellano. Well, Vinny Castellano, thank you for your service, my friend. I did not know that you served our country, but I appreciate you, I respect you, and thank you for your service. Lori E says, I love the smell of a new book. Hey, Cosmo Scary is here. What's up, Cosmo? Good to see you. Cosmo Scary says, I recommend the Libby app for audiobooks. Let me screenshot that. Ibadaz says, Tom, audiobooks when in the car and in transit are great. You know, I'm gonna try to create an Audible account. You know, I actually got an email from Audible to do like a sponsor on the video. So we'll see. We'll see. To be determined. Hey, Tim is here. What's up, Tim? It says check out Apocalypse World War I and World War II series on YouTube to see in a historical perspective how Ukraine could be a domino that sets others falling. Tim, let me screenshot your comment there because that intrigued me quite a bit. Apocalypse World War I and World War II series on YouTube. You know what? Maybe when I go home, I'm going to check that out because now I'm intrigued. Hey, Mike C says, I have so much clutter already. Keeping physical books would make it much worse. Cosmo Scary says, Audible is a sponsorship that I would accept. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to accept it. But then again, we'll see. I really just want to make sure that everything is good. Hey, Mark Sage is here. Good afternoon, Mark. Happy Saturday. This is Miami Beach. Looks great tonight. So this is Lincoln Road. There's a lot of outdoor dining, a lot of events going on. So later in April, I'd say about midway through April, we are actually going to be live from Miami Tech Week. So there's going to be a lot of startup companies. We're going to be able to interview a lot of founders of tech startups in Miami Beach. As Bitcoin 2022, we just got a press pass, so we are going to be front row when they do the keynote speakers and interviews of Michael Saylor, which is the CEO and founder of enterprise software company MicroStrategy. We're going to be able to be front row when they interview Andrew Yang. So we're looking forward to that, and that is going to be happening in April, so stay tuned. Hey, Bob is here. This is good evening, Tom. What's up, Bob? Good to see you, Bob. Leonardo says hello. Good to see you. Hey, Mason Wright Road says hello. Good to see you. So there's one more thing I wanted to touch on briefly. And, you know, there's a lot of people in the chat, especially last week, we were talking about, you know, should we be shifting our equity exposure to European stocks? You know, because a lot of European stocks are trading at book value, a lot lower valuations than their US counterparts. And, you know, obviously we've explored why that is. You know, why do European stocks trade at a discount to US stocks, and should we be shifting allocation over to European equities? So an interesting thing that I was reading about is that the International Monetary Fund expects the United Kingdom's economy to grow 4.7% this year in comparison to the 4% growth they're expecting for the United States. So I'll say that again, the IMF is expecting the United Kingdom to grow by 4.7% in comparison to 4% growth of the United States. So do we think that it's wise to shift some exposure to European equities or European stocks? What do you guys think? Hey, Kato is here. It says YouTube, sunny, live in Miami also. Good to see you. Lori E, good to see you. Maria says hello from Hialeah, Florida. Good to see you. The one and only Carol H is here. What's up, Carol? Carol H. We are here at Lincoln Road in Miami. Yeah, Lori E says the United Kingdom ended their mandates sooner. So that is another thing. So Boris Johnson actually came out and said they are going to lift all of their restrictions. But the most interesting thing that he said to me was they're even going to lift the restriction or the mandates of mandatory quarantine, even if you have the virus. So one of the things that's really been restricting international travel and international commerce is mandatory quarantine rules. So for example, if you are an American citizen and you want to travel to, let's say, Korea, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks, which pretty much no one can do. So that has restricted travel an unbelievable amount. So just imagine all of the money that isn't being spent on international travel due to all of these crazy quarantine mandates. But the UK and Boris Johnson are lifting all of the quarantine mandates entirely. So I think that's probably going to drive a lot of growth in the UK as well. Bernard Friedman says, Tom, didn't New York City end their mandates as well? So, I was reading about that. I don't think they restricted all of their mandates. I still think that the vaccination mandates for public employees, so if you're an NYPD officer, FDNY firefighter, I do believe the vaccine mandates are still in place, but I do not think it is mandatory to check vaccination cards anymore when you go into a restaurant. But I could be wrong on that. Mike S. says all the people who were fired need to be rehired with no exceptions. I agree with that, but I don't think anybody's been fired just yet. Has anybody been fired yet? Does anybody know? Carol H. says, Tom, Lincoln Road looks lively tonight. Yeah, there does seem to be a lot of people here, or at least a lot more people than usual. A lot of tourists too, I've noticed. Hey, TV says, hello, Tom, from Detroit. Welcome to all of our viewers from Detroit. Hey, chat says, Tom, thoughts on the emergency closed FOMC meeting on Monday? Well, I think that they're going to raise interest rates at least 50 basis points. We heard from the St. Louis Fed president completely changed his tune, and he actually said that he's calling for a 50 basis point rate hike in March of 2022. But the interesting thing is, I really don't think, and I think EBITDA said this first in the chat. I think it may have been EBITDA. Yeah, I think it was. EBITDA said this back when we were streaming in New York. He doesn't believe that the Federal Reserve raising interest rates will have any effect on inflation. And so if that happens, what that means is we're increasing interest rates, right? The Fed is raising rates, tightening monetary policy into a recession, totally kills the gains in the equities market, and doesn't do anything to help inflation. That is no good. That would lead to a 1970s style stagflationary environment, which I don't think anybody wants to see. It's definitely an interesting supposition. Hey, Alan Wilson says, I think the military is already starting to discharge those who are unvaccinated. Interesting. Hey, Lady O is here. What's up, Lady O? Good to see you. Lady O is our moderator from New Jersey. Good to see you. Dino says, Tom, the U.S. Supreme Court just yesterday refused to block vax mandates for New York City teachers. So does that mean... You see, ever since I moved here, I haven't really been up to date too much on the New York City politics as much as I should be. John L. says, Volcker raised rates, killed inflation after two recessions. Hey, how are you? After 2 recessions. Yeah, the Volcker rule, interesting. Horatio Snipes is Ukraine safe? I'm not too sure, but good to see you, Horatio Snipes. TikTok says hello from Goslow, Scotland. David is here. Good to see you, David. Carolina Tom says, you just summed it up perfectly, buddy. Good to see you, Carolina Tom. Yeah, so Carolina Tom is another viewer that has really been holding the narrative that the major indices are going to make a new low, which I think is probably going to pan out now. So even though on last Monday we had that follow-through day, there's a lot of damage that's been done in a lot of these stocks. You know, a lot of these stocks are down 70, 60, 70%. So when we had that follow-through day, there was almost no merchandise on the market to buy. There was no bases that were being formed, really nothing. But what I think is that you're going to see the growth names not go down as much as a lot of the liquid leaders. I think you're going to see a lot of the mega cap tech stocks now roll over, correct 15 to 20%, and that's going to bring the indices down probably 5 to 10%. And then I think that'll probably bring us into Q3, Q4, where there's going to be really, really big buying opportunities. So we'll keep our eye on that. Hey, TikTok, says Tom, it is 2:15 a.m. here. Good to see you, TikTok. Dino says it means they are still forced to get the vax unless they have a religious exemption. Well, I think Connecticut lifted all of their vaccine, well, I mean, excuse me, not the vaccine. They lifted all of their masking mandates for children in public schools, and I believe they did the same thing in Nevada. So it should be interesting to see if other major states and major cities follow the lead, because by and large, countries around the world seem to be at least easing a little bit on their stringent COVID-19 policies. Jerry says banks have trillions in savings accounts. They don't need to borrow from the central banks. Savings account rates equals stagflation. EBITDA says walks on Wall Street. I think that the high PE stocks still have some room to move on the downside, to be honest. This is EBITDA. I think you're right, but I think by and large, a lot of these institutions sold all of those very high beta stocks already. And I think I was reading an analyst report out of Goldman Sachs, and he was looking at prime brokerage data. And he said the data from a lot of the prime brokerage that they follow have seen the largest in history outflows of mega cap tech stocks in history from their high net worth clients. So that includes anything like Alphabet, Google, Meta, Facebook, things like that. And that usually tends how it tends to be how it goes, right? They sell the crap or the junk first, like your Pelotons, all of these non-profitable, non-earning stocks. And then you have a spillover into your quality. Lady O says, Tom, New York is starting to lift mandates in some areas. Next month, it may be relaxed for schools. We shall see. So what is it like in New Jersey, Lady O? Is there any major mandate lifts in New Jersey? Hey, Juan Carlos says, Tom, greetings from Honduras. Good to see you. Mike C says, people 100% in the market won't have any cash to buy the dips. This is Mike C. Dino says, Tom, they are looking at the poll numbers and they are poor numbers and are panicking. Perhaps that's why they're suddenly lifting restrictions. You know, I think that's an interesting point there. You know, going into a midterm election, I think the Democrats are really expecting a disaster, right? I think Joe Biden's approval ratings are now worse than what President Trump's were, if that's even possible. So I guess we'll have to see. And look, that's not a political statement. You know, on this channel, we like to be very objective and just say the facts when we're analyzing the financial markets. I really have no preference whether it be a Democrat or a Republican. You know, I think the facts are the facts, and Joe Biden's approval rating is not good at all. So I think that's why we're going to see Joe Biden really hammer on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to get this inflation under control before midterms. And we'll see if he can do it. Hey, Mike C says, people 100% in the market. Oh, I read that one. TV says, Tom, Michigan is lifting its mandate February 28th. Lady O says, New Jersey will lift the mask mandate in schools starting March 7th. It's now optional at markets and restaurants, but healthcare workers like me must continue to wear masks, which I don't mind. Interesting. Very interesting. I think this car is, what, a Bentley, everybody? Juan Carlos says, greetings. Carolina Tom says, stocks will move down, but be prepared for a dead cat bounce that will last 2 to 3 days, followed by a dump. Yeah, so Carolina Tom, the thing that was mainly concerning to me is that all of the major indices, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, all closed below their major 200-day moving averages. And, you know, as the legendary trader Paul Tudor Jones likes to say, nothing good happens below the 200-day moving average. Hey, Christopher Finch, good to see you. Photos from around New York. I hope you're doing well. Bob says, we have never been through a pandemic, so can we really blame politicians for a mask mandate? Yeah, I mean, I don't really, my take on the mask mandates, it's not really that big of a deal for me. I think the thing that where it causes a little bit of concern is mandating individuals to get a vaccine, right? And this is coming from somebody that is fully vaccinated and is pro-vaccine, but I do not agree with the fact that the government should be able to force you to get it. Hey, Mark says, a C8 Corvette is to your right. Hey, Christopher Finch says, what's up, Tom? John L says, looking at monthly charts, markets up huge since 2020, 65%. Not really a correction yet. Hey, Franklin is here from Brazil. What's up, Franklin? Says, hi, Tom. Good evening, brother. Good evening. So I believe these are all bamboo. I'm actually going to be planting some bamboo at my house very soon. I'll make sure to show you guys some pictures of it. Louis says hello, good to see you. Oh, everybody, I just wanted to say thank you. Our Behind the Street newsletter, which is the free financial newsletter that I write for everybody once a week. 100 readers. So if anybody would like to sign up to read and receive the Behind the Street newsletter, if you type X, the Nightbot will drop the link to the Behind the Street newsletter. So I just want to say thank you, everybody. I believe we are almost at 500 people that read the newsletter every single week. So that is amazing. I appreciate it very much. And I hope to continue to write more for you guys and keep you on the right side of the market, hopefully. So I appreciate everybody reading. Hey, Bob says, yes, bamboo grows in southern Florida. Yeah, so Bob, I'm not sure if I posted these pictures, but at my house, I'm gonna dig a trench around the entire perimeter of my house and plant those Calusia privacy bushes. Instead of the Calusia bushes, I want to get the bamboo and have it all along the side, all along my fence in the backyard. Hey, Dale is here. Says, good evening, Tom. Be careful, bamboo spreads quickly. Yeah, so Dale, my neighbor was telling me about that. Supposedly bamboo literally spreads like wildfire. It's crazy. But I'm definitely gonna check it out, because it definitely does provide good privacy, but definitely have to watch out for it spreading too much. Yeah, Dale says, Tom, the nice thing about bamboo is that you can harvest it. Ken Kramer says, plant black bamboo. Looks the best and doesn't spread as fast. I'm definitely going to take a screenshot of that. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. Zabatata says, better keep the bamboo under control. Hey, parking full time says, bamboo grows great down here in the southeast, sometimes too good. Yeah, so numero uno, you make a great point. Mainly the vast majority of my yard, I want to rip up all the grass and put down more stones because I want very low maintenance, especially if I'm going to be having tenants. But here we are outside of the Apple store at Lincoln Road. We actually covered Apple's earnings in depth on this channel. Apple reported its highest revenue earning quarter in company history. So the highest revenue producing quarter for Apple in company history. Hey, Bernard Friedman says, I have to go now. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Bernard, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. And have a great one. Hey, Ren1018 says, get fake grass also. So I thought about that. I thought about the artificial turf. But what I think I want to do is just mainly rip up the majority of the yard and put weed mat down. So like a very thin layer of weed mat, and then put the rocks on top of it. Hey, the Mighty Bulls here says, hello, Tom. Happy Saturday to everybody. Good to see you, Mighty Bull. We were just talking about inflation, the Russian central bank raising interest rates. John L says, big tech reported well except Amazon, bit weak. Yeah, I mean, John L, Amazon didn't report too bad, but the thing that was concerning was that the vast majority of Amazon's earnings came out of their investment into Rivian, their IPO gains. But obviously, as we talk about all the time on the channel, Amazon AWS, as well as Microsoft Azure and Google's Google Cloud all posted extremely strong revenue gains. Extremely strong revenue gains. Yeah, Mike C says low maintenance yards are the way to go. That's what I'm trying to make it, because obviously I'm going to be renting out half the house, or maybe the entire house, you never know. And I want to make sure that there's very, very low maintenance for the tenants. So we'll see. So this is Lincoln Road. We are coming to the very end of Lincoln Road here in Miami. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to stream around noon, around 12 o'clock in downtown Miami, and try to walk to Brickell Key. I do not think we've been there yet. And I want to show everybody what downtown Miami looks like during the day, because oftentimes you'll be able to see dolphins, manatees swimming around. So that is to be determined if we'll do that tomorrow. Laurie E says, give them a break on rent to keep up the lawn. I thought about that actually, but I don't think I'm going to go with that. I don't really want a little bit of a liability. The tenants. So I thought about that too. If I have a landscaper coming and, you know, mowing the lawn, it's probably going to disturb them. So I want to try to keep it as low maintenance. Franklin says, Tom, would you show us the sky? Sure. Cody says, two of my business partners are meeting with breakfast in Brickell tomorrow. Wish I was there myself. So I was actually in downtown Miami yesterday having a business dinner. But good to see you, Cody. Bob says, Tom, have you been to Key Biscayne yet? I don't think we have. But maybe we'll go there tomorrow night. Dan McLaren says, the daily candle on SPY was extremely bearish on Friday. Not sure how I feel about it, honestly. Yeah, and one of the things that was really concerning is that we sold off on higher than average volume. Royce's Tom stream tomorrow night may have higher ratings than the Super Bowl. So I'm not sure where I'm going to watch the Super Bowl tomorrow. I always do tend to watch it. I'm not a big football fan at all, but usually for the big, I guess you could call it the big game, I always like to check it out. Wow, Lady O says, Tom, tomorrow is going to be freezing again in New Jersey, 18 degrees. Oof. Lady O, I actually went to the beach for a little bit today to read. It was 77 degrees, bright sun. Very, very fortunate. A big difference from walking around in Manhattan this last week. I think it's been 2 weeks now in 18 degree weather. Hey, Ibrahim Azam is here. What's up, Ibrahim? Good to see you. Ibrahim Azam is our moderator from California. John L. says, Google low maintenance Florida, friendly alternatives to turf grass. Thank you for that. I will check that out. Franz says, Tom, have you ever been to Ocean Drive? I think we have. I think we've been to Ocean Drive a couple times on the stream. Kira J says, I just watched the halftime show. Who's playing for the halftime show? Does anybody know? Does anybody know who's playing the halftime show? Ibrahim Azam says Miami looks great tonight. Yeah, so Ibrahim, we're in a little bit of a different spot. We are in South Beach, Miami, or Sobey, I guess this is called. But we usually stream in Brickell, or the financial district. That is where we usually spend the vast majority of our time. So this is Alton Road. Oh, so Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Dr. Dre, and Kendrick Lamar are going to be performing at the Super Bowl. I did not know that. That's actually probably going to be pretty entertaining. That's going to be awesome. Hey, the Mighty Bull says, Tom, any bull sightings? Not today, Mighty Bull. I believe this is a McLaren. There's always really nice cars here in Miami, probably because it doesn't snow. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. Hey, the one and only Swan is here. What's up, Swan? The Swan is one of our moderators from Ireland. Good to see you. Falcon Spaces, I love McLarens. Judy D's here, says, hey Tom, how's it going? It's going really good. Good to see you, Judy. Hope you're well. We're walking a little bit of a different location tonight. Usually we are walking in downtown Miami, but maybe we'll get an opportunity to go to the beach tonight if it's not too windy there. Hey, Kenneth says, Tom, what's up, man? Good to see you. Kenneth, good to see you too, my friend. Wow, this place looks really nice in here. Can you guys see inside? It looks really nice in here. So I guess this is more of like a residential neighborhood in South Beach, not really on the main, I guess you could call it what, the main strip, like Collins Avenue. Hey, Orland Edwards is here. Good to see you, Orland. Libas is thinking about moving to Miami from Philadelphia. Very cool. Philadelphia is a great city. So it's interesting, there's so many people I was just going to bring this up on another stream when we were talking about the CPI numbers and housing and cost of living adjustment. Before seeing so many California license plates in both Miami as well as New York City. And, you know, we stream around New York City all the time, and we never, ever see California license plates. But there's so many California plates now in New York as well as Miami. So I think that you're seeing a mass migration from states like California to the East Coast, where maybe the states here operated a little bit better, perhaps. Hey, Roy is here. What's up, Roy? Good to see you. So these are the hedges that I'm going to plant all outside of my house. I believe you pronounce these Clusia. So these are going to be planted all around the perimeter of the house. I'll be sure to show you guys what it looks like when they're all planted. Mom says, I am from California and want to move to New York. We'll go up this way. Hey, David says, Tom, do you think we are headed for a recession? Well, I think it's a growing possibility we could be headed for a recession. And I think one of the things that's most concerning is that if we do head for a recession, that means the Federal Reserve will be tightening into a recession, which is never good, which could cause something along the lines of stagflation, which we've seen in the 70s. Because as we were just talking about with Russia, you know, Russian inflation is actually higher than in the United States, coming in at about 8.7%. Last week, we got the CPI numbers at 7.5 here in the United States. But here's the difference. The Federal Reserve is very accommodative in the United States, but the bank, or the Russian bank, has actually been raising interest rates. And I think as high now as 9.5%. And it doesn't seem to be doing anything for inflation, even though interest rates are being raised astronomically. Christian Felix is here, says, hey everybody. What's up, Christian? Good to see you, Chris. Sabrina Fair is here, good to see you. Mike S says, what will mortgage rates do? So mortgage rates are very, very dependent on the 10-year treasury yield. And last week, we actually broke above 2% for the first time in a very, very long time. On that 10-year yield, broke above 2%. I believe the average 30-year mortgage rate now is about 4%. Just to give you an idea, I think when I purchased my property about 5 months ago, I think my interest rate was just right at 3%, or maybe a little bit below. I gotta look. But I think right at about 3% exactly. Which, if inflation is running at 7.5%, you know, that technically means I borrowed the money for free, or I got free money. So it should be interesting to see how it plays out. But I mean, even if mortgage rates goes to 6%, I mean, if you look at all of the buying activity for extremely large multifamily properties, you know, all of the big wealthy institutions have already locked in these properties at ridiculously low rates. So they're more than happy just to sit it out and collect the rent rolls, even if that means the property values drop a little bit. John L says, Tom Brady moving to Indian Creek Island. Yeah, so I think Indian Creek Island has the... Hey, Penelope is here. Good to see you, Penelope. Penelope is joining us from the one and only Tennessee. Good to see you, Penelope. Ibrahim Azam says, Seattle, Washington is also fast growing. Some people are leaving the city itself, but the surrounding metro area is gaining residents. Judy D says, what will happen to the stock market? So historically, when the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, usually very high growth companies that don't have many earnings, And I think this is why we've been seeing a lot of the Russell 2000 stocks getting hit really hard. Because when interest rates move up, the earnings of those companies projected in the future are now worth less today. Because when interest rates are higher now, investors are not willing to pay a steeper premium for future earnings of companies. And that's why I think we've seen the Russell 2000 severely lagging the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, mainly because they don't have the exposure to mega cap tech to hold up those indices. Hey, Sally is here, says, hello, Tom, beautiful day. Good to see you, Sally. Jerry Covey, I see Lady O. Penelope says, good to see you too, Tom. What's up, Penelope? Hey, Jay says, Tom, I'm leaving tomorrow for Fort Lauderdale. Have a good time. Bitsmag TV says, good evening, everybody. What's up, Bitsmag TV? Hope you're well. Roy S. So if you guys want to read the interesting article that I'm going to attach, if you type exclamation point price, PRICE, the Nightbot will drop the link to the article that we were talking about tonight. And it's essentially how a lot of companies are disguising price increases from customers. And they're doing that by what's called shrinkflation. So when you go into the grocery store, when you go into different stores, even though the prices of like a cereal box may seem that they're staying the same, the quantity that you're receiving is significantly less. And they're doing this all across the board. Even when you go into restaurants, prices may be relatively stable, but at the end of the night when you get your bill, they're charging 3% COVID surcharge and all these other things to help make up for rising costs of raw commodities and other things like that. Hey, Dutchman is here. Good to see you, Dutchman. Hope you're well. Hey, 1-to-1 says howdy from New Jersey. What's up, 1-to-1? Good to see you back here again. Thank you for joining. We are here, Lincoln Road and Meridian Avenue in Miami. Aaron Prill says, hey guys, what's up, Aaron? So the Nightbot just dropped the article. So if you see where it says read here, if you click that link that says companies hidden inflation consumer price index. So I think the main topic of that article is, for example, with Harley Davidson. So Harley Davidson technically isn't increasing the price on their Harleys or on their motorcycles. What they're doing is they're charging like a 3 or a 5% fee. And it's called COVID adjustment or something like that. And that's a way for these companies to make a little bit of extra money to accommodate for increased raw materials and increased commodities prices and things like that. Hey, welcome everybody from Brazil. We have a lot of Brazilian viewers. Good to see everybody from Brazil. NE says, Tom, would you ever review your viewers' portfolios or your own on the stream, obviously hiding personal info? So I would not do that, and the reason for that is because I am not licensed to give financial advice. But we could talk openly about ideas and share ideas here on the channel. But unfortunately, I cannot look at the specifics of anybody's portfolio due to legal reasons. Dale says, yeah, a quart of juice went from like 64 ounces to 59 ounces. Hey, George Lewis says, hello from Portugal. Welcome to all of our viewers from Portugal. Good to see you. Hey, Jenny G says, thanks, Nightbot, got the article. Yeah, check it out and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Hey, Christopher says, I need a COVID adjustment on my paycheck. So, I used to actually go out to a lot of restaurants in New York City, and a lot of them are actually charging like a 3% COVID convenience fee, it's called. So check out that article. It's really interesting. Really interesting. 1-to-1 says, are you walking with your iPhone in your hand? Yes, it is on a gimbal. Somebody says, what part of Miami is this? So we are here at Lincoln Road in South Beach. So Lincoln Road is very well known for a lot of shopping, a lot of good places to eat, things like that. Numero uno says, Tom, energy bars are getting smaller. Franklin says, Tom, have you ever visited the Statue of Liberty? So I have visited the Statue of Liberty, but when I was a very little kid. Jay says, Tom, how is parking there? I'm not too sure. It's probably not too good, but I do not drive, thankfully. It says, how far away is Brickell from here? It's probably about 3 or 4 miles, I'd assume. But 2 nights ago, we were streaming live from Brickell and Mary Brickell Village, which is very close to the financial district here in Miami. So you can sort of think about it like a mini Manhattan here in Southern Florida. Hey, Triple G says, Tom, years ago, 250,000 shares was considered a high volume day. This was before you were born in the early 90s. I know, isn't that crazy? That's so crazy to think about. But now, I think with high frequency trading and algorithmic trading, volumes are absolutely exploding on many exchanges. So I think you're right. I think high frequency trading really has the majority to do with the increase in volume. What do you think? This is one of my favorite buildings here, right on Lincoln Road Mall. I believe this is called the Art Deco. Hey, Chuck says, oh, nice evening in Miami. Devon Avery is here, says good evening. Hey, Out and About, what's up? Out and About is here, says good evening. What's up, Out and About? Mike S.'s juice company was advertising they made the containers smaller so it's easier to pour. Hey, 48 says, good evening, Tom. How are you? Good evening. So 48 is our good friend from New Zealand. So welcome to all of our viewers in New Zealand. Hey, Estelle is here from Australia. What's up, Estelle? How are you? Bob says, Tom, the Art Deco Theater. 1-to-1 says, go to Ocean Drive. Somebody says, Miami looks very clean. Yeah, that's one of the main things I noticed as well when I first arrived to Miami from New York City. This definitely is a very, very clean place. Not a lot of garbage around, which is good. I think that's an overall good thing. But Out and About is our moderator from Toronto, Canada. Hey, Techno Pink. Techno Pink is our friend from the Dominican Republic. He is a consultant at EY. Good to see you, Techno Pink. John Ellis is very good choice, Miami. Triple G says, so much change with volume, fractional shares, commission-free trades, etc. Yeah, I think you make a good point about the commission-free trades. So by and large, the main reason why the vast majority of retail investors have access to commission-free trades is due to something called payment for order flow. So payment for order flow is a concept where your exchange or your broker dealer will actually sell your order flow to market makers on Wall Street, such as Two Sigma, Jump Trading, Citadel Securities, in exchange for a commission. And the market makers make a small fee between the spread between the bid and the ask. And that allows us to trade without any commissions. So even though obviously with the whole GameStop and AMC debacle that happened on Wall Street last year, and everybody started to attack payment for order flow, you know, without payment for order flow, nobody would be able to trade quote unquote for free, right? You would be paying your commission. But a lot of the companies, and especially a lot of the startup broker dealers, they sell all of your order flow to market makers on Wall Street, and that's how they are able to pass that cost savings on to you. Hey, Marcotte says, wow, Florida is beautiful. Good to see you. Hey, Out and About is everybody excited for the Super Bowl halftime show tomorrow? So just up until 30 minutes ago, I didn't even know who was playing, but supposedly it's Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Eminem. So I'm absolutely gonna watch it. Should be interesting. Hey, Shot by Scott is here. What's up, Scott? Everybody, Shot by Scott is our moderator from right here in the 305 in Miami. He is also a very talented photographer. So please check out his channel, Shot by Scott. Hey, John is here. It's the Super Bowl. Shake my head. Sabrina Fair says, Tom, don't watch it. I'll probably watch some clips on YouTube, to be honest. Dan McLaren says, Tom, some companies are just using COVID as an excuse to charge more. Perhaps. NE says there's still brokerage firms like Raymond James that are still charge outrageous fees for trading. Yeah, but mainly a lot of the people who use something like Raymond James are institutional clients. You know what I mean? So if you use something like a Raymond James or even a Jeffries, these are probably prime brokers. Hey, Julie says hello from Atlanta. Welcome everybody from Atlanta. AJ Dots says you should hang out with James and Carla and Scott here in Miami. Yeah, definitely when I get a chance. It's been pretty hectic for me with work, but I'm definitely going to do it when I get a chance. Absolutely. One-to-ones is E-Trade, Webull, TD, to name a few. I'm not a big fan of Webull, but I understand. Hey, Andy is here. Says, hey Tom, beautiful weather in Miami. Andy is from Korea. Good to see you, Andy from South Korea. I hope you're having a good weekend so far. Today. Photos around the hope all goes well. I mean, I hope so too. It's been crazy hours. Almost working like 70 hours a week. But you know, all is good. All is good so far. You know, can't complain. Christian says 30 seg on the brake. The Swan says, Tom getting phone calls again with the interference. So true. So another thing, here's the last thing I wanted to make a note of tonight on the stream. And that's the UK is expected to return to its pre-pandemic level of activity in this current quarter, right? And that is reaching the milestone that the United States economy already passed in the middle of last year. So it seems that the United States has already returned to its pre-pandemic levels of economic activity when the UK is predicted to get there this year. And obviously, there's a lot to be said for that because the United States has a more robust economy. But I actually think the UK has a pretty good chance of growing at a faster pace that a lot of economists think, especially since they're pretty much by and large lifting all of their COVID restrictions. You know, Boris Johnson came out and pretty much signaled to the market that they are going to lift every single COVID restriction, including the quarantine requirements. But the only thing is that if growth comes in hotter than expected, this would probably allow for the Bank of England to further raise rates. And that could possibly put a damper on equities markets. But, you know, European equities are trading at a severe discount to US equities. And in this week's Behind the Street newsletter, we are going to be writing about European equities in relation to US equities. So if you want to receive that newsletter, if you type !news, NEWS in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link to the Behind the Street newsletter where you could sign up to receive it. Obama says electric power bills are up 50% in the UK because of the carbon tax. Hey, Josh the Canadian. What's up, Josh? Josh the Canadian. You know, I was watching a lot of the coverage of the, what's it called? The Canadian Freedom Convoy truckers. The Canadian Freedom Convoy truckers. Franklin, good to see you. The Mighty Bulls says shout out to James and Carla, absolutely, and Hudson as well. Lost in Cali says hi Tom, good to see you back in Miami instead of gloomy New York. What neighborhood are you walking in Miami? So as of right now, we are walking in South Beach. Oh, check this mural out here. But this is South Beach and we were just at Lincoln Road. Hey, Joshua Lopez is here, says hello Tom, hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well, Joshua. Good to see you. Photos from around New York says Tom, 70% chance of snow in New York City tomorrow as per NOAA. How much snow you guys are going to get? Anything major or just a dusting? So I believe we are headed closer towards Espanola Way, which is a major tourist attraction, mainly focused around a lot of food places to eat, a lot of restaurants. Hey, Lori E, thank you for joining. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Somebody said, by the way, what board do you use? I use an 8.5. So I ride an 8.5. That is the size of my deck. Hey, Kilo Whiskey Juliet. What is going on, Kilo Whiskey Juliet? Good to see you. Paul Stein says, hi, Tom, from South Miami. What's up, Paul? Good to see you. This guy's got a pretty nice board. It's like a little cruiser. I'm not sure what. No, that actually looks like an 8.5 inch deck. Maybe 7.5. So this is 15th Street. And we're about to be at Espanola Way, which is a very, very notable tourist place with good restaurants. Oh my gosh, we've already been streaming for 2 hours. All right, so we'll take one walk around Espanola Way so you guys can see it. Assuming we can get through the crowd, we may have to go around the block. Yeah, Penelope's like, we miss Wounded Knee. We're gonna have Wounded Knee very, very, very soon. Laurie uses Tom. I'm vicariously enjoying Florida warmth. Numero unos as I'm watching the stream from my hot tub. Triple G says time check 10:05 p.m. Thank you for the time check, Triple G. We're gonna walk around here because I don't think we'll be able to get through. There's so many people waiting to get in this restaurant. So this is Espanola Way. Hey, Brad is here. What's up, Brad? So we'll take one walk around Espanola Way. Well, this is a very famous and well-notable Cuban restaurant here. It's called Havana 1957. And it looks like there's a crazy long line just to even get a seat. Hey, Ron is here. It's 13 degrees here. Miss Brown Eyes is partying in the SoFi Stadium. Let's go Rams. Yeah, let's go. I think I'm gonna root for the Bengals. We'll see. Chris says, me too, Franklin. Hey, Faith is here. The one and only Faith says, good evening, Tom. What's up, Faith? Faith, good to see you. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Happy Saturday. We're gonna walk through Espanola Way, but I think we may start to buffer just a little bit. Photos from around New York. This looks like fun. Photos, have you ever been here? Faith says, likewise, Tom, good to be here. Faith, any plans for the weekend? Supposedly it was 60 degrees today in New York City. Hey, Two Explorers. Good to see you, Two Explorers. Hope you're well. Lou Rodriguez. It's been years. I don't go out much like this. So this is a very good Italian restaurant here in South Beach at Espanola Way. Check out this dog right here. Beautiful dog. Hey, Dana Thompson is here. Faith says, I am done with work, so I am a free bird. Very cool. The Swan is unbelievable how they decorate. Good to see you, Swan. If you guys are enjoying the stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. But this is supposedly one of the best Italian places in South Beach. Penelope says, love the restaurants that tend to the dogs. Good to see you, Penelope from Tennessee. Hey, Lost in Cali, this is such good energy here. Good to see you, Lost in Cali. You know, I'm quite surprised we're not buffering, because we usually tend to buffer a lot, especially when we stream around Espanola way. The Mighty Bull says, I'm rooting for the Bengals. Hi, Rebus is so lively every day in Miami. He says, hello from Tennessee, makes me miss Venice, Florida. So I'll take a step back. I want to show you guys all these balconies here. The balconies look amazing. Check this out. I like all the balconies up top. Ori E says people in Florida are definitely voicing their best life. Yeah, this definitely is a very popular spot here in Southern Florida. Hey, Michael Johnson says, hi Tom, I'm back at the copper mine in Arizona. Looks like you were having way more fun. Well, please be safe in the copper mines. Definitely a dangerous job. So please be safe. Faith's is pretty chandelier. I think this is probably the most people we've ever seen here at Espanola Way. Probably because international COVID restrictions are easing up, so perhaps international travel is starting back up once again. XOXX Bob says Miami does nightlife quite well. Carol H says the Spanish style balconies look very charming. Yeah, I'll give you guys one more look from this side.
It goes all the way down to the other end, yeah.
Hey, Sabrina Fair, good to see you. Shop by Scott's is Miami Nights. Alexander says, how far are you from Little Havana, Tom? A stream from Key West would be awesome. So Little Havana, I'm not sure how far away we are from that, to be totally honest. Probably, I'd assume maybe 5 miles. But Key West stream is in the works. But to be totally honest, probably not anytime soon, just because I've been so busy with work and things like that. So we'll take one more pass through Española Way, and then we will head out. Brian says, Tom, would you do a sunrise stream? We will. Maybe next week we will do a sunrise stream. I have to be up early almost every day next week. I will be in Brickell, which is in downtown Miami. Hey, Fred X says, Tom, thank you for the warm sights and sounds from a snowy Alaska. Well, thank you to all of our viewers in Alaska. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it very, very much. The sunset today was really nice. Andy is joining us from South Korea. Andy, how was everything in South Korea? I think it was snowing yesterday in South Korea. One of my good friends was showing me a video of it snowing pretty hard in South Korea. So hopefully you're well. Falcon Space is definitely need to visit Miami this summer. Well, the one thing about visiting Miami in the summer, it tends to be extremely, extremely humid here. So I think this time of year is perhaps a little bit better to visit. I just want to sit there on the bench and people watch all day. Hey, Kathy Lyons says, good night, Tom. Thank you for this beautiful walk tonight in Miami. I really enjoyed it. I Reva says, it was snowing in Denver, Colorado today. So my phone may die. So if you guys enjoyed the stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. And subscribe to the channel if you are new, because we are at 10% battery. So I appreciate everybody joining tonight. And if you want to sign up for my free Behind the Street newsletter, which will be sent out to everybody tomorrow, if you type !news in the chat, !NEWS, the Nightbot will drop the link to the Behind the Street newsletter. It is a weekly financial newsletter that I send out to about 500 investors and all of you guys. Falcon Spaces, can't wait to see the newsletter. It will be sent out tomorrow. This is another good Cuban restaurant here. Hey, Barry says, thank you so much. Glad everyone's learning and happy. The Mighty Bull says, go Bengals. Oh yeah, so before we end the stream, I guess just as a little bit of Super Bowl fun, type in the chat who you guys think is going to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to say the Cincinnati Bengals, so we'll take a quick poll as we look at the Salesforce clouds. Well, at least I'm going to call them Salesforce clouds. So type in the chat who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. Who do you think? I'm seeing Bengals. Andy says, wow, nice Cuban restaurant. XOXX Bob. Dale says the Bengals. I don't know anything about football, but I'm going to say Bengals as well. Nick says the Rams. Bengals. R says Rams. Shot by Scott says 21-17 to the Rams. Aaron Pro says Bengals. Reba says Bengals. The Swan, thank you for joining tonight, The Swan. I appreciate you very much. Lady O says the Bengals. NG says my high school mascot was the Bengals, so I guess I'll have to go with the Bengals. Sabrina Fair says Puppy Bowl. Paul says the Bengals. Penelope says I don't know. Sunshine City Solar Light says Rams. Dana says Rams. Fred X says thanks Tom, you rule. You rule as well. Hey Nick says by the way, my mom says hello Tom. Hey, well hello to you too. Lou Rodriguez says I will go for fry wings. War Walker says Dolphins. Kathy Lyons says Bengals. 48, Faith says undecided. Well, everybody, we're going to call it a night. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We were only supposed to go for an hour, but now we are just going on about 2. Tends to happen all the time on the stream. So Shot by Scott, Andy, Bob, Lori, I appreciate it. 64, thank you so much. The Swan, the one and only. Have a safe and relaxing Saturday night into this Sunday. Dino, I appreciate you joining. Lady O. Sally, the Swan, Photos from around New York. John, thank you. Alexander, Dana Thompson, Aaron Prill. Carol H is the Rams. R. Lambert. I. Rebus, Shot by Scott. And everybody else who joined tonight. War Walker, I appreciate you. Marty Lewis, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the stream tonight. Subscribe if you are new. And to the mighty bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there is always a bull market somewhere and you just need to know where to look. And I will see everybody right back here on the stream tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody.